it has been a bipartisan effort. And just keep in mind for everybody, because I know this is a bipartisan audience, it really is not, from our standpoint on the host committee. I know it seems strange coming from me. This isn't an effort on a partisan level. This is a charitable, nonprofit effort to highlight the city and the people of Wisconsin on the national stage. And so many of the people that are helping put this on, in fact, most of the people, were also the same people working to put on the Democrat National Convention a short time ago. So it really is going well, and really happy with where we're at.
I guess I'm surprised to hear that those people are the same people who are behind that event production, that it's more of an event production than a specific partisan party.
Yeah, so when the host committee, it's a little confusing because there's two entities that work together to put this on. There's the host committee, and that's what I'm chairing, along with Ted Kellner, who's the CEO, and many others on the board. And then there's the Republican National Committee. So our side of the equation is completely charitable and tax deductible because we don't pay for or plan for any of the actual programming of a convention. So the partisan speeches, what things that people are saying, how that's broadcast, we have nothing to do with that. But when it comes to making sure we've got a great delegate experience featuring Summerfest, the Harley Museum, Miller Park, American Family Field, that's all part of the host committee, the safety, the transportation, all that. And the RNC handles everything else. So it is a joint effort, but it's a bipartisan effort.
Reince, the money that was cut from the budget, the governor cut $9 million from Visit Milwaukee. That's meant for tourism as it pertains to the RNC. Does that affect you guys at all?
Well, certainly it's disappointing. I hope maybe there's a way through the tourism budget and the allocations that were made that maybe we can claw some of that back. But it is disappointing because, quite frankly, the things we have to pay for, when you have 50,000 people a day, which ends up being hundreds of thousands of people that you need to transport from hotels all the way up from Kohler down to Kenosha, even out to Madison, and 56 delegations from around the country, including 6 territories. The cost of that it's a lot. Now, there's going to be over $200 million economic positive impact to the community, but just the cost of that is enormous. Imagine the insurance costs. You have people in hotels in Kenosha, Waukesha, Madison. You have to insure this entire operation. The venues that you're locking in, not just the Fiserv Arena, but all across the Wisconsin Center District, all around Milwaukee. All of that is contracted, secured, paid for. So to create this engine that's going to be happening, and hopefully like Cleveland spurring, MLB All-Star, NBA All-Star. The launch pad that happens, it costs a lot of money. And to give you an example, in Ohio, when we had the convention in Cleveland, because I was chairman in Cleveland, I was chairman for the Tampa convention too. I was chairman of the Wisconsin party for the St. Paul convention in 2008. In Ohio, just as one example, the state kicked in $10 million. The city of Cleveland kicked in $3 million because they're going to get it all back times 100. So the fact that we were cut, I just think, to put it mildly, it was disappointing because it's helpful, but it doesn't mean we're not going to raise the money. We'll raise the money, but obviously it's more money you got to put in the pot.
And is that really your focus on your day-to-day duties as the chair of the RNC host committee is fundraising, or are there other duties for you?
Well, it's certainly the main one. I would lie to you to say that it isn't. Making sure the money's coming in, making the pitch for the convention. It certainly helps that it's a charitable gift. It's something a little different. But it is, it's a daily grind. But I will say, because I've been there, done that in Cleveland and Tampa, Milwaukee's doing. We're doing well. I'm in really peaceful spirits about where we're at on money.
Well, that's a good place to be, kind of zen about that.
Yeah, I am. I am. It's no spin for the radio or for the people listening. We're doing well, but, you have to stay on it. In politics, even though it's charitable, and I explained that we're not political, it's hard for people to not lump everything together and say, well, it's the Republican convention or vice versa for the DNC a few years ago. And politics is divisive. I mean, politics today is as nasty as it's ever been. And for a lot of people, it can be a turnoff. So, it's a pitch that you've got to keep on and keep getting to yes on people that you're asking for money.
Reince, I'm glad you feel positive and in a peaceful state of mind about the convention a year away. I'd like to come back and chat with you about your state of mind about the Republican presidential debate that is happening in a month right here in Milwaukee. So we'll be back with more with Reince Priebus, our guest on the Tri-County Contracting Hotline with WTMJ Now next.
Be on the stage. I think that, if your polling goes down, for whatever reason, if you don't compete in the debate and then suddenly you show up in debate 3, 4, or 5, I mean, it's a pretty big gamble. And the second thing is, he views himself as, and he was a good debater. I think he thinks he won the debates in the primary in 2016. I was chairman of the RNC in 2016. I was chairman of the RNC in 2012. So the last time we actually had an actual convention that people went to in a debate process, I was leading that effort. So I've been through it. I've been there, and it's not easy leading a contentious primary, but contentious primaries draw attention. They have interest. And in the end, if you can come together, unified, having a contentious primary, I believe can actually help win elections. And that happened every time I was chairman, both in Wisconsin and the RNC, and we did nothing but win, quite frankly.
Is there something a candidate can do in Milwaukee on August 23rd on that stage that can get the party behind them?
Yeah, I mean, it's really not the debate that wins a debate. It's the post-debate spin. It's the lines that are used, unrecognized competence maybe in a particular area, a hopeful message at a time of division, pushback on accusations that might be dragging a candidate down. There are those moments that you can't predict, but those are the things that happen after a debate that can win a debate in public interest.
So the opinions of what happened on stage tend to shape voters' minds more than what actually does happen on stage.
That's 100% correct, which is why the spin room, digital campaigning, messaging afterwards, that's what wins a debate.
But we have the spin room and we have the messaging throughout the entire campaign. So has the debate, has that lost its luster from years ago?
I don't think so. I mean, certainly if you have like 25 debates, it certainly can. But I think the first few debates, the debates before Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, I think those can matter a lot. Go back to Chris Christie and Marco Rubio. Go back to the attack of Ted Cruz on Donald Trump being from New York, and Trump replied regarding New York values and 9/11. And there are moments that can make a big difference. And you don't know them, you can't predict them, but you know them when you see them.
That it factor kind of thing?
An it factor, or just someone that you're not thinking about that does incredibly well, or someone that needs to do better and somehow has a moment. Those are the things that really matter, and money and volunteers. I mean, the thing about this primary is I was going on January 15th. That's 15 days earlier than 2016. Super Tuesday's not until March 15th. So from the end of the early states to March 15th is a long time. You need money, you need volunteers, and if you're not competitive, you're not going to raise any more money, and people aren't going to wake up in the morning to put up your signs. So you have to keep in mind, early states, money and volunteers, that's what matters.
You know that formula. And I've got to ask you, you say that you think Donald Trump will participate in this first Republican presidential debate. Do you think?
I think he will. I don't have a promise, but I know the president pretty well. I think if you're going to have 20 to 25 million people watching, and you're very confident of your own debate skills, and you want to look strong and not not hiding from the debate. If you want to do all those things, I think he's going to jump in. And look, he's very good at drawing attention. Look, you've asked me questions about the president. Is he going to debate? Is he not going to debate? No questions about whether Chris Christie's going to debate or Ron DeSantis. So look at what's happening. He's getting all the attention. Is he going to debate or isn't he? And that's going to go on now for another month. So now if he is, then there's going to be, I'm debating a week ahead of time, or maybe not, but I think he will. Then that's going to be the focus. So, it's a pretty good skill to have every issue be about you. And Trump has been very good at maneuvering public interest, whether good or bad, to be him being the topic.
Well, I do want to ask you something different about your time.
Oh, no, I wasn't being critical. It's all over the place. I mean, this is what people want to know. It's obvious. I'm not criticizing.
Oh, no.
It is true that he's good at it.
I didn't take it in that sense at all. And I respect. No, I apologize if I came across differently, because I want to ask you a different question about former President Trump, because I respect your time with him, and you just shared with us really your insights of spending time with him. And I'm going back to the White House, and I'm just wondering what it feels like. Can you describe what it feels like the first time you walk into the Oval Office, not as a tourist, not as a guest, but you're somebody who works there and works in the administration? What does that feel like?
That's a good question. I don't know if anyone's ever asked me that. I would say it's pretty overwhelming. Responsibility, just you look at the walls, look at the ceiling, and imagine the decisions that were made and what might happen to you while you're there and the decisions you have to make. I'd say the first day I walked into the White House and I was having dinner with the president, we went down to the Oval Office, and I just remember him staring at the ceiling and looking back at me and just said, wow, can you believe it? And it was just a moment of being sort of overwhelmed in the moment. And then going to my office, completely empty, nothing in it, your chief of staff to the White House and basically running the federal government. And there's a Bible verse and a password on your computer, and that's it. There's no orientation or this is how it works. You just start, and that's how it is. And that's the amazing thing about democracy and the unbelievable country and constitution that we live under.
Did he ever text you in all caps?
No, but I've been talked to in all caps. I promise you that. Yes.
Reince Priebus, currently the chair of the Republican National Convention Host Committee. Thank you very much for your time and the updates today. We look forward to connecting with you again soon as the convention progresses.
All right. Thank you, everybody.